The others laughed. What about you, Neville? Well, my gran brought me up, and she's a witch, said Neville. But my family thought I was a muggle for ages. My great-uncle Algie kept trying to catch me off guard and force some magic out of me. He pushed me off the end of Blackpool Pier once. I nearly drowned, but nothing happened till I was 8. Great-uncle Algie came around for tea, and he was hanging me out of an upstairs window by the ankles when my great-auntie Enid offered him a meringue, and he accidentally let go. But I bounced all the way down the garden and into the road. They were really, really pleased. Gran was crying. She was so happy, and you should have seen their faces when I got in here. They thought I might not be magic enough to come. Great-uncle Algie was so pleased. He bought me my toad. On Harry's other side, Percy Weasley and Hermione, me, we were talking about lessons. I do hope they stopped straight away. There's so much to learn. I'm particularly interested in transfiguration, turning something into something else, of course. It's supposed to be very difficult. You'll be starting small, with just matches into needles and that sort of thing, Percy replied. Harry was starting to feel warm and sleepy, looking up at the tide table again. Hagrid was drinking deeply from the goblet. Professor McGonagall was talking to Professor Dumbledore. Professor Quirrell, in his absurd turban, was talking to a teacher with greasy black hair, a hooked nose, and sallow skin. It happened very quickly. The hook-nosed teacher looked past Quirrell's turban, straight into Harry's eyes, and a sharp, hot pain shot across the scar in Harry's forehead. Ouch! Harry clapped a hand to his forehead. What is it? Asked Percy. Nothing. The pain had gone as quickly as it had come. Harder to shake off was the feeling Harry had got from the teacher's look, a feeling that he didn't like at all. Who's that teacher talking to Professor Quirrell? Oh, you know Quirrell already, do you? No wonder he's looking so nervous. That's Professor Snape. He teaches potions, but he doesn't want to. Everyone knows he's after Quirrell's job. Knows an awful lot about the dark arts, Snape. Harry watched Snape for a while, but Snape didn't look at him. At last, the puddings too disappeared, and Professor Dumbledore got to his feet again. The hall fell silent. Ahem! Just a few more words, now we are all fed and watered. I have a few start-of-term notices for you. First years should note that the forest in the grounds is forbidden to all pupils, and a few of our older students would do well to remember that. Dumbledore's twinkling eyes flashed in the direction of the Weasley twins. I've also been asked by Mr. Filch, the caretaker, to remind you that no magic should be used between classes in the corridor. Quidditch trials will be held in the second week of term. Anyone interested in playing for the house team should contact Madam Hooch. And finally, I must tell you that this year, the third floor corridor on the right-hand side is out of bounds to anyone who does not wish to die a very painful death. Harry laughed, but he was one of the few who did. He's not serious, he muttered to Percy. Must be, said Percy, frowning at Dumbledore. It's odd, because he usually gives us a reason when we're not allowed to go somewhere. The forest full of dangerous beasts, everyone knows that. I do think he might have told us prefects, at least. And now, before we go to bed, let us sing the school song. And he told everyone to pick their favourite tune, and everyone sang. Again, I'm not much of a singer, so I'm not going to. Everybody finished the song at different times. At last, only the Weasley twins were left, singing along to a very slow funeral march. Dumbledore conducted the very last few lines with his wand, and then they finished. He was one of the ones who clapped the loudest. Ah, music, a magic beyond all we do here. And now bedtime. Off trot. The Gryffindor first years followed Percy through the trotting crowds out of the great hall and up the marble staircase. Harry's legs were like lead again, but only because he was so tired and full of food. He was so sleepy that he wasn't even surprised that the people in the portraits along the corridor whispered and pointed as he passed, or that twice Percy had led them through doorways hidden behind sliding panels and hanging tapestries. They climbed more staircases, yawning and dragging their feet, and Harry was just wondering how much further they would go until they came to a sudden halt. A bundle of walking sticks was floating in midair, and as Percy took a step forward, they started throwing themselves. Peeves, Percy whispered to the first years, a poltergeist. Peeves, show yourself. A loud, rude sound, like the air being let out of a balloon, answered. Do you want me to get to the Baron? There was a pop, and a little man with wicked dark eyes and a wide mouth appeared, floating cross-legged in the air, clutching the walking sticks. Woo! Eco thirsties! What fun! He swooped suddenly at them. They all ducked. Go away, Peeves, or the Baron will hear about this. I mean it." Peeves stuck out his tongue and vanished. Dropping the walking sticks on Neville's head, they heard him zoom away, rattling coats of armour as he passed. "You want to watch out for Peeves," said Percy as they set off again. "The bloody Baron's the only one who can control him. He won't even listen to prefects. Ah, here we are." At the very end of the corridor hung a portrait of a very fat woman in a pink silk dress. "Password?" "Caput Draconis," said Percy, and the portrait swung forward to reveal a round hole in the wall. They all scrambled through it. Neville needed a leg up and found themselves in the Gryffindor common room, a cosy round room full of squashy armchairs. Percy directed the girls through one door to our dormitory, and the boys through another. At the top of a spiral staircase, they were obviously in one of the towers. They found their beds at last. 5 four-posters hung with deep red velvet curtains. Their trunks had already been brought up. Too tired to talk, they pulled on their pajamas and fell into bed. "Great food, isn't it?" Ron muttered to Harry through the hangings. "Get off, Scabbers!" "He's chewing my sheets." Harry was going to ask Ron if he'd had any of the treacle tart, but he fell asleep almost at once. Perhaps Harry had eaten a bit too much, because he had a very strange dream. He was wearing Professor Quirrell's turban, which kept talking to him, telling him he must transfer to Slytherin at once, because it was his destiny. Harry told the turban he didn't want to be in Slytherin. It got heavier and heavier, and he tried to pull it off, but it tightened painfully, and there was Malfoy laughing at him as he struggled with it. Then Malfoy turned into the hook-nosed teacher, Snape, whose laugh became high and cold. There was a burst of green light, and Harry woke, sweating and shaking. He rolled over and fell asleep again, and when he woke the next day, he didn't remember the dream at all.